I am not a bounty hunter. I've heard otherwise.
Look, the dynamic duo!
Hey guys, welcome to the Dynamic Duo. I'm Franz.
I'm Kevin. Welcome home, everybody, and happy 2022.
Yeah, that's right, actually. Happy 2022. Happy New Year. Hopefully this year will be better than 2021, which may go down in history as the worst year ever. Well, I shouldn't say that because there have been worse years, but it may go down in history as a globally impacted year. It's crazy. But we have lots to talk about today, Kevin. What's the first topic you want to go over? I know you're a little bit excited about the Book of Boba. Did you watch it, and what did you think?
To answer your question, yes, I watched it first thing in the morning on its premiere day, which was Wednesday. I got to be honest with you, partner. I loved it. There is a lot of back and forth from people saying, it's slow and it's a slow burn, and they wanted more from it. I'm looking forward to what's coming. I do see it as a slow start to a certain extent, but I want that. Don't hit me with 50,000 explosions right off the bat. Yes, there are times that works, and to be honest, that's how Lucas opened A New Hope with the ships coming over and the explosions and everything. But because of what Book of Boba Fett is supposed to represent, give me the story. This is all part of what you and I have been talking about for over a year now, which is you can give me special effects, you can give me a lot of icing on the cake, but the one thing that has to be present with any of it is you got to have a decent, cohesive story. And this is well beyond me being a Star Wars fan, and I might be biased at the same time, but I really, really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to the rest of it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I watched it last night, as you know, so that we could talk about it today. I like it, not necessarily love. And of course, I'm sure you want me to be honest and to give my honest opinion. I felt a little bad because I knew how much you loved it, and I was like, oh no, I don't want to. But I'll tell you what it is. The Mandalorian to me was first note, boom, I got it, fell in love 100%. The Book of Boba, I didn't have that immediate reaction to it. Here's the good, and I don't think there's any bad. There's no bad, but the not so good for me. The good is that I love that they stay faithful to the source material. I love that, they keep the characters of Star Wars, some of the sillier looking characters. It's the Star Wars world, and it embraces that world wholeheartely. One of the things that I always wish that we could have is someone to embrace the superhero world as well, because there's always an apology, right? In the superhero world, we have to dumb down the costumes. We have to legitimize the costumes and the superpowers, and everybody's wearing clothes rather than costumes. Here, with Book of Boba, you get full on Star Wars. You get full on Star Wars. The quality of it, I agree with you. It's movie quality. It's well delivered. It's solid. In many ways, and I've talked about this before, and I don't know if I'm qualified to say this because I'm not as much of a Star Wars person as you are, and what I'm saying may be blasphemous. But to me, this is the best iteration of Star Wars, the universe. it has the fantastical aspect of Star Wars, while at the same time, it's not silly, it's not stupid, it doesn't insult your intelligence, it's not silly with the comedy and the cutesiness. There's none of that. So I definitely liked it, and I thought the performances were good. Here's where it slowed down a little bit for me. The delivery of the action to me wasn't as choreographed as dramatically as I would have liked. I think that it could have been done a little bit better. I'm thinking of the scene when they're walking through the thing and they get attacked by the assassins, and then they have the little parkour sequence. To me, it just wasn't delivered in the optimal way. It wasn't badly delivered. Some action deliveries are just cool, are just exciting, are just flawless. To me, I could see choreographed, particularly the parkour sequence. For example, the parkour sequence, I can see in my head that they hired some parkour guys to go through that sequence. And that would work for Daredevil. That would work for Captain America. It didn't work for me in Star Wars because Earth, it was too much of a stretch. They could have done that roofs chasing sequence without it being so obviously parkour from parkour guys.
I agree.
And the fight scene as well. Another thing that got in the way, and I want to get your opinion on this, and forgive me for being blunt and honest. Another thing that got in the way, I loved everything about it except this got in the way for me. There are certain things that I didn't accept or understand, and it's editing. It's all about editing. And for example, Boba comes out of the monster's mouth. He's in the sand. He's dying. He's dying. Like there's no way about it. And then time goes by, so he's dying even further. And then he gets found, and then he goes from dying to walking and being dragged by the beast. I don't know how you go from dying to being able to walk, because if he's able to walk, why didn't he walk? You know what I mean? Little things like that got in the way.
I agree. That was staged badly because since the Tusken Raiders took him, they should have only been able to drag him. He shouldn't have been able to walk at all.
Correct. And they continued that also with, again, now he's captured. He's barely alive. He's barely surviving, but he has the strength to fight that beast dog thing and to essentially kill it. Those two contrasts, it's a slight little thing. It's an editing thing. It's a director thing that says, don't let that sequence, give me an explanation as to how he could go from basically dying to being able to fight off a beast. Deliver that a little bit better. Now, I don't want you to misunderstand me. I'm not coming for this thing. I'm not saying I dislike it. I'm just saying that whereas I didn't have those issues with Mandalorian, I picked up a little bit on that. And if Mandalorian is a 10 for me, I would give this an 8 rather than a 10. Oh, and the last thing also too is that I didn't get to. So yeah, one other thing, I didn't get to, and I want you to go, but I didn't get to care about Boba. I didn't get to know him enough to, sometimes you can get to know, fall in love with a character in very quick sequence. Clint Eastwood walks into the bar and and you're just like, oh man, I love this dude. Mandalorian had that effect. Like he just had that coolness. Like as soon as you see him, you're like, holy crap, this dude is cool. I didn't get that with Boba. Maybe because he's a little bit out of shape. I didn't get that with Boba. And here's another thing that got in the way a little bit for me. He is now the replacement for Jabba the Hutt. He's the guy, right? He's fearsome. He's controlling the town. He's clearly the if not the mobster, the thug guy, right? but he was fairly easily defeated and almost killed by a small band of bandits. I think he should have been more powerful and more fearsome to hold that position. So he's walking down the street, he gets attacked by about 5 guys or whatever, 10 guys, whatever it is, and he almost dies. That's not enough power for me to say, oh, now you have control of the town as if you're the lord over the town. So little things like that. And maybe I'm being overly critical. Feel free to come at me. If I'm wrong, I don't mind. That's how I felt about it.
Well, no, it's not a matter of coming at you. In all honesty, you are correct in what you've said. Okay, but one of the things that I already love about this series, okay, is that in spite of its little problems here and there, one of the things I do like is that Boba has aged, okay? And within that age factor, he's not the Boba Fett that everybody remembers from 1980 and meaning The Empire Strikes Back. And he's not even Boba from 1983 dealing with Return of the Jedi. I like the fact that deep down, because of his age, he's a little bit slower. He may be making some bad decisions and he's fallible. And I love that from the point of view of the character. Now, but don't get me wrong. I love the fact that Boba Fett has always been seen as this absolute badass character within the Star Wars world. Okay. But I love the fact that they have allowed time to play a part. It's like the fact that he's got to, you know, within the attack that he had, okay, the first thing he said to the 2 Gamorrean guards, get me back to the tank, which means there is something aside from just a wound here and a wound there. I think being in that Sarlacc pit, plus other things that he may have endured when the Tusken Raiders had him, it's like, I'm really messed up now, but I've got to cover it somehow. And this is the easiest and best way for me to cover it until I'm 100%. Now, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. No, forgive me.
Now, what I think they're going to do, and yeah, we're only 1 episode in. I think as the show goes on, the big bad Boba that everybody remembers is going to show up.
That's a brilliant point. And I'm remiss at the fact that I missed that. And I appreciate you pointing that out to me. You're absolutely right. If it was intentional, then that's perfect delivery. And the mistake that I made is the mistake that you pointed out. People are looking for Boba to be a badass. And non-Star Wars folks like me, and when I say non-Star Wars folks, this is what I mean. I've watched the Star Wars movies. It's one thing to watch the movies. It's another thing to claim fandom. A lot of people claim to be Spider-Man fans because they watched a couple of films, and they don't, they're not Spider-Man fans, okay? And the same way I love Star Wars, I do, and I've watched the movies. I'm not, immersed into the world like my partner Kevin is. So for people like us, we're coming at it from a superficial point of view. And again, I just want to see the badass Boba because for the reputation rather than the depth of character. You pointed something very, very true. That is to say, if it's a worn out Boba, if it's a Boba that's barely hanging on for whatever reason, maybe what he went through, then it makes sense that he was that vulnerable. And it also makes sense that the action sequences weren't as dramatic because he's moving slower essentially than before. So that's a great point. Having said that, it raises a question to me because another thing that I appreciated about it was that I thought, and correct me if I'm wrong, I thought it picked up immediately after, Return of the Jedi? In other words, when he falls into the pit, isn't that what happened when he isn't that what happened when he fell into, he was swallowed up by that monster? And so the show started didn't the show start from that point on, from him coming out of that monster, or am I wrong about that?
Technically speaking, yes, but at the same time, and this is where the timeline is a bit on the skewed side. At the same time, no, because it's a matter of deep down, we really don't know, and maybe they're going to explain this further. And I'm not giving the show or the creators an out. We don't know how long, based on this first show, he was held captive by the Tusken Raiders.
That's a great point.
We don't know what they did to him in the process. Okay.
And we also don't know, that's a great point. And we also don't know how much time has passed from that capture to the present time when he is the whatever gang lord, whatever that he is.
Because allow me to point out one quick thing. When they introduced the character in The Mandalorian, and when he finds the body of Fennec Shan, the character that Ming-Na Wen is playing, the female, we don't know how long he's been away from the Tusken Raiders at that point.
Yeah, you're right.
This is why I say this is a yes and no thing of his initial survival was right after Return of the Jedi, or at least for a time after Jedi. The in-between portion is what we don't know. Because this cannot be an immediacy thing, because if it would be, then Tamara Morrison playing Boba Fett at that time wouldn't make sense in terms of his age. Because he was a lot younger between 80 and 83, meaning Empire and Jedi. So there has to be some other stuff that happened.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I'm wrong for not picking it up, because
no, it's not a matter of being wrong. Stop that.
No, but you're right. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. And it's okay. It's okay. So here's what it is. The show, this is the first episode 1, and it could go to be masterful and better than Mandalorian, or it could falter and fall apart. Let's wait and see what happens. Let's see where it goes. I give it a fairly high rating. I don't give it a perfect rating. And we'll discuss it. We'll discuss it some more. We'll watch the episodes to see where it goes.
One last thing before we move on to our next topic.
Absolutely.
If you don't mind.
Of course.
Timeline wise, The Mandalorian, which is when Boba was reintroduced, is supposed to take place 5 to 6 years after Jedi, if that helps. So that much time has taken place by the time you get to the adventures of Din Djarin and Baby Grogu.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see what that time is relevant to Boba Fett.
Yes.
Are they in the same timeline? Will they meet each other?
Uh-huh.
So that's interesting. But 5 to 6 years after Jedi, that's not enough time for Boba to have aged that much. I would have given. So it's I
agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Part of that. Part of having Tamara Morrison is nothing but fan service. It's like the idea of having somebody like Linda Carter in one of the Wonder Woman movies. It's you put her in for fan service and to have fans go kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or what they've done with the recent Spider-Man movies, for instance.
Exactly.
Okay.
Hey, listen, guys, let us know what you think. Did you watch it? Did you enjoy it? How does it compare to Mandalorian? Let us know. And don't forget to like, and don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to share. And we'll see you next time.
May the force be with you all until we meet again.